I mean, that's why they don't like you, because KJP's like, oh, I know Simon knows all the tricks of the trade. They're afraid of you because also you're not a corporate shill like all these other, journalists, I say in quotes, that won't ask a tough question. So tell us, what's the latest? Have they totally limited you from the press room? Is that the latest that's happening right now?
Yes, so in 3 months ago on May 5th, the White House told every single person who covers the White House, this is what you are going to do. You will renew your hard pass or you will lose it. And the best way to renew your hard pass is to go to the Supreme Court and get credentialed by the Supreme Court, whether you want to cover the Supreme Court or not, or we need to get credentialed by Congress. Whether you want to cover Congress or not. And so I filed a lawsuit because it takes a long time for Congress to credential you, and the Supreme Court doesn't even credential anyone. They have only 25 journalists who cover them full time, and they don't give hard passes to people who cover other branches of government. So essentially what they didn't do their homework. It was so lame, so dumb. They just sat down, they didn't consult the Senate, they didn't consult the Supreme Court to know if the press galleries, they're even credentialed journalists. And they just say, hey, you need to go to the Supreme Court to get credentialed before you can renew your hard pass. Can you believe it? It's almost like asking someone who wants to cover the Supreme Court to go to the White House first to get credentialed by the White House. If the White House agrees to credential them, then they can come to the Supreme Court to apply for their credentials, which is crazy.
That's crazy. And listen, this is what pisses me off the most is you are a person of color. You're an immigrant. You should be propped up the most. We should. I mean that seriously. I mean, this is what their whole party is. The left wing is all about helping marginalized people. And honestly, I want to help marginalized people. I think we all do. And I don't know anybody, and I mean this with all due respect, but you're from a nation that is very marginalized. Wouldn't they want to raise you up? I mean, why don't they like you? I would think as an African-American journalist, they would be giving you extra support.
Yeah, the left, they love to talk about, the little guy. When President Biden ran for office, he was the guy for the little guy. President Trump was a demon. He was, this bad guy who was in power and who was dividing the country. He was the racist. And that's one reason why we decided to cover the White House full time, because we believe that President Biden was the great guy. In Washington, D.C., they can paint any story, even a chicken. If a chicken becomes president, the lobbyists and all the people in Washington, D.C., we craft that story that shows that chicken has the most brilliant, the most intelligent chicken in the entire world.
Yeah.
And so they gave us this story of President Biden, who was this guy who has suffered a lot, lost family members, and was there for the little guy. But when I went to the White House, I realized that wasn't the case. They've been discriminating against me. They've not called on me in the White House for the past 10 months. Even as President Biden received 50 African leaders in Washington, D.C.
They wouldn't let you talk. When you told me you had all those leaders in from Africa, and they wouldn't even let you participate?
No, even as the president's wife, the first lady, went to Africa, they won't call on me. Even as the vice president went to Africa, they won't call on me. They won't call on me during press briefings. They won't call on me during background calls. They won't respond to my email. They will shut doors on me. They will show the level of disrespect. And, they've always been condescending, and it's been crazy covering them. And most people who support them, including the people who, when you see me on TV, maybe yelling a question, it looks really bad. But what you don't understand...
No, it looks good. Sorry, no, it looks awesome, but go ahead. It doesn't look bad. Maybe to those establishment people, it looks badass.
I've exhausted all means. Just try to do my job. The reason they're trying to silence me is for one reason. Because I'm doing my job, asking the right questions, asking relevant questions, and because I don't belong to the club. When you don't belong to the club in Washington, D.C., they try to sideline you, and that's what they're trying to do to me.
And it's ridiculous. And did you saw this? I saw you tweeted this. KJP got caught tweeting for Joe Biden under her account. I mean, but you know, big surprise. I just have to ask this question. Joe Biden doesn't tweet for himself. Oh, I'm shocked. Yeah, right. So tell me what.
And they've deleted it. So maybe it was a mistake. Maybe an intern tweeted, and they were, oh my God, you know, tens of thousands of people have seen this tweet, and you know, we have to delete it.
Isn't that bad if we can't even tweet crap correct and they think that these people can run the country? They don't even know how to run Twitter or X.com. We love you, Elon. Thank you. But,
we don't know what it is now.
I'm saying they can't even use Twitter. Okay, so now I want to get.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself